Hi, this is Charles Butler, host of the Charles Butler Show on Genesis Communication Network. I'd just like to talk about an article that's in Wall Street Journal this morning, and I felt compelled to put this video up on YouTube and up on my daily blast. It's called The Myths of Black Lives Matter. That is not about a myth. The young people may have the content wrong, and certainly they're not doing a good job of intellectually presenting their argument. But I understand what they're talking about, because as a black man in America, I know that if a white police officer can take my life on a traffic stop, that is a reality of being black in America. The problem that we have with Black Lives Matter, and that I have with Black Lives Matter and people like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, is that they don't defend black law-abiding citizens. I don't care if the police shoot a criminal. I don't care if the police rough up a criminal in the black community. I really don't care. But what I do care about are my friends' children who are upstanding young people, not getting in trouble, walking on the same block as Obama's home, being pulled over while they're walking, thrown up against a police car, and handcuffed time and time again because the police want to harass people. I'm sorry. I don't know many good cops, and the few good cops I've met have always been offset by the bad cops and the bad interfaces I've had since I was 13 years old. I've never been in trouble, never been a problem, naval officer, upstanding citizen, all of these things, but still I am afraid of police officers, because I know that as a black man in America, they can and will shoot me. I've seen it happen to relatives. I remember one of my relatives, I call him Cousin Buddy. His name was Willie Bunkley. Walking down the street, we saw him walking down the street coming to my father's house. Policeman came out of the station, looked over, saw him, ran over, picked him up, started beating on him with billy clubs, drug him in the station, beat him with phone books. My father couldn't get to him for 5 or 6 hours. Don't tell me about cops. I remember walking in downtown Detroit as a little boy, and cops trying to run over us with their horses and terrifying my mother and my brothers. They didn't terrify me. I wanted to shoot them. That's how I roll. Martin Luther King, I think, was one of the worst things that ever happened to black folks. But that's a topic for another video. But Black Lives Matter, I wish that they had named it Black Lives Matter too, and then we could cut to the chase and get through some of the clouds that's out there that's clouding the real issue. Heather McDonald wrote this article, and Heather's a great friend of mine. I love Heather. She works for Manhattan Institute. And she cited that in 2015, 662 whites and Hispanics were shot. It'd be interesting to know how many brown people were shot. She lumped whites and Hispanics together, as people used to do until Hispanics knew it became popular for them to separate themselves, and they started coming over here illegally in droves, increasing their numbers, and 258 blacks. So the question to me, and what I would like to dig further into, is how many of these blacks were criminals? How many of these blacks were law-abiding citizens? That is the issue for me, because I get caught up in this thing called police brutality, police aggressiveness. When I used to work at WVON, I had two enemies to worry about getting home: the urban terrorists that were gang members, and the Chicago Police Department, and those morons. And I can tell you stories about that, and I have the proof about that. Besides a Chicago police detective lying on me and trying to get me locked up because he thought that two white witnesses would overcome the truth. And the truth was, I never assaulted the man I was accused of assaulting, never committed battery or theft. And the Chicago police officer knew, but he's trying to get me a record. Don't tell me about white cops. I'm sorry. I don't. There are good cops out there, but I expect that. That's their job. But I run into too many bad white cops, and I mean real bad white cops, and always have all my life, whether in Detroit, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, L.A., San Diego, Washington, D.C. It's just the way it is. But that doesn't mean that you have to go out and become a criminal and retaliate. You have to be smarter than the police officers, and that is win in the courtroom. See ya till next time.